So today just felt like a really good day to garden because it's 50 in January and you can't not garden when it's nice outside, right? So I'm going to plant some seeds in this bed with a low tunnel and hopefully get a jump on my early crops. I'm gonna plant some radish. I'm gonna try beets. I know they like a warmer weather, but I had a tent on here and it's temping in the 70s, so I'm hoping that's gonna be warm enough for beets. Turnips and kale are all what I'm gonna start from seed today. Make a little salad bed. So I know in this bed, when I increase the heat up to the 70s over here with this tunnel, I'm gonna end up having some salvia start because I had all salvia back here on the other side of this fence and it just seeded into this bed, which is fine because it was pretty and I don't mind having it. The pollinators like it. If it seeds itself and pops up in spring, I'll let it stay. I don't think it'll really harm the other stuff I had planned for here. So the first thing I want to start with, though, I probably should be wearing gloves. I'm going to start with my radish, but the first one is a early Scarlet globe. So they kind of want, my soil is a little fluffy, so I'm going to try and smooth it out a tad bit. I did give it some nutrients and I will put some more fertilizer on it once these start popping up. But these radish want to go in about a ½ inch. It's going to make a little divot going on here. Let's do little rows. That should be about a ½ inch. I have a green onion growing here by where these radishes are going to go. I got my little trench and I'm just going to pop a couple of these in here. I'm not doing a whole lot because this is an experiment for me. I've never tried to grow things in the winter from seed. I'm not really used to being in a cold area, having grown up in Southern California and living in Florida. That was more of what I was used to as far as temperatures go. I mean, I've lived in cold places, but I've lived more in warmer areas. And I've always gardened in those warmer areas. So this is all new to me. But I'm hoping with this little tunnel that I built yesterday, I can keep some of this stuff happy. And I will come back out and thin as needed. Go here. The soil is quite cold right now. But I know a lot of this stuff is cold plantings. They like to be cool, so hoping that that will not make them mind the cold soil that I've already got in this bed. It's not frozen. We've actually not had a whole lot of cold. It's 50 today, which is nice. So that first two rows right there are the early Scarlet globe radish, and I think right next to them I'm going to plant the, I'll pop a pin right here. So I did that right there. So I can remember to come back with my marker. I think I'll do another row here. And we'll do the French breakfast radish in here. Let's do the same. We'll do 2 more rows with the radish. And I will be hand watering these until I can turn the water back on because I have our water turned off right now. I technically can take these out of here, but you know what, that's actually not a bad idea. These radish are the French dressing. I grew some of these in our fall garden and we got a really good selection of them. There was some nice big radishes in there. They were delicious. Pop those down in the trench there. And this was a ½ inch, it said, to do it. This might be a little tad bit deeper. I didn't actually measure it, but it should be fine. pack the soil down. There's my 2 rows of French dressing. We're having quite a bit of wind right now. Not a lot of rain or snow, which is nice. Now here I'm going to do the turnip. And the turnip, this is one of our favorite things because we eat turnips all year long in every form. They also like to be a 1/2 inch down. I'll do 2 rows of those. And then the rest of it will be kale, and I'll scatter some beets in there as well. And I'm not really being too careful with my placement because I don't know if they're all going to germinate. I don't know if any of them are going to germinate in this weather. I'm hoping with the row cover they do. We'll see. I had great success with them growing here last year, so last spring when I did it. Okay. There's my turnips. I've got radishes all the way down to the end. And now the rest of this bed is going to be for my beets and my kale. I do have a cabbage here still from fall. It didn't grow much. It got attacked by the cabbage butterflies. So while I'm out here, I'm going to pop off some of those. Yeah, they did a number to my cabbage leaves there. And pop those off just in case there's maybe some little guys living on there. So I've never grown kale before. This was a free seed packet that I got from Baker's Creek when I did my order. And I thought, why not just try and grow it, because I've never tried growing kale before. I don't mind kale as a green. I don't really ever look for it. But I have used it in soups and stuff. So it's probably where it'll end up, is soups with the most of what's in this bed. It says it's a 50-day. So I don't know how long it'll take under a cover still in the cold. But it likes temperatures between 45 and 85, which I can definitely give them right now. These want a 1/4 inch depth, so I don't need to go as far as I did with the other one. But I ended here with my turnips over here, so I think I'm gonna start. We'll go. Just pop it down right here. Just fluff it up just a little bit. I'll do a row here and 8 inches apart, but I'm gonna kind of push that because we're still pretty cold, and if I need to thin them, I can thin them. Give it a little fluff. And I'm not planting all of them because I want to save some for in case these fail and I want to plant them in later in the spring. Just kind of popping these down in the ground like I did the other ones. But I'm pretty excited to see whether these are good growers or not, because like I said, I've never grown kale before. This is a new one for me. Just cover that over with a little dusting of soil. I think I'm just going to leave that at that and do just the 2 rows of the kale because I don't want to take too much space in case this starts actually growing. But I am going to put some beets down here, which are back to that 1/2 inch depth, and I'll put some up here because they will grow next to the cabbage and not kind of just to do a couple, do 5. it just felt like the type of day that you should just go out and garden. You know, you have nice warm weather, full 50. I guess 50 technically is not warm, but nicer weather than we've had. There's no snow. We're supposed to get some later this week. I don't know if it'll actually happen. The last 2 times they said snow, we didn't actually end up getting any. So here's personally hoping we don't get any. I'm not the biggest fan for snow, having come from many warm climates. It was fun the first couple of times, but I'm over it now. I am watering these in pretty well because I'm going to put the cover over it. And I have warmer water. I want the water to kind of help heat up the bed a little bit. Plus the soil past a certain level was pretty dry. Real quick, I want to talk about the cover that I made because I've looked at a whole bunch of them online and I was just kind of guessing on what I would need. I took a piece of plastic that I had for painting, like the drop cloths, and I just draped it over the top of this cage, and it's probably not the most secure way to do this, but it's what I have to work with right now. And I didn't think I needed anything that thick because everything I planted in here was cold tolerant. So I gave it some ventilation holes, which is the duct tape on top. This is like a complete rig kind of a thing, like using what you got. I had the wood that was the stakes from the pumpkin patch that I wasn't using anymore because we decided to do something different down there. And then the cattle panel or the garden panel, whatever it is leftovers from our fence. So I anchored it to the wood by drilling holes all along the bottom down there, popped the little pieces in, and it's staying really nice and steady. I connected all the pieces, that's why it's 2 different heights, because I used what I had, which you know we do around here. So I'm hoping that I can keep enough heat in there. I had a thermometer in there and it was staying at 74, and that was before the sun started hitting it. So if I can get enough warmth in there, and it's not 100% closed off, obviously I've got the vent holes here and on all the sides, but also you see if you can see down in there. There's a little cabbage. The plastic kind of moves, so it's not completely against there. I've got some screws holding it in place that are nice and snug on there, so hopefully the plastic doesn't rip. But I put the stones on the bottom just to kind of hold it from completely taking my entire thing. If I feel the need to, I can also put hinges on it so it doesn't go nowhere. We'll see, but I'm with the fence right there, just hoping if it does lift up, it pops against the fence. Just not like the table did, because I still haven't gotten a chance to fix where the table broke and flew through my fence in the last windstorm we had. While we're out here, this is all the other stuff I have going on. I still have a cabbage going. She's gone through a couple of snowstorms now. Not heavy ones, but enough. Still got some lettuce. We got a leek doing its thing down there, which I think needs to come out soon. It looks like it's ready to come out. I'm just leaving it. If it's still green and pretty and it doesn't look like it's dying, it's not coming out. These leeks over here are not looking so hot. They're looking like they got a little damage there, but the lettuce in this bed still looks really good. I had to figure out what was the problem with this bed though, because I had issues over here with my peppers too. They just did not thrive over here. So it might be a nutrition issue. And the only other thing I have going right now, which keeps me happy because green in the winter is always lovely, I have my garlic, which is nice, doing nice over here. I'm gonna break open a hay bale pretty soon and mulch over it. All right, so we had a couple of days since I planted the bed, and we've had some ice, quite a bit of it. Everything still looks like it's okay though, for the most part. I don't think the lettuce is going to survive this, but let's go take a look at our hoop because I popped the thermometer in there a little bit ago to see what the temperature was staying at. Because I could see a little bit of steam rising off of here. And it looks like we're at 38 in there. It's been in there for a bit now. So I'm thinking that's probably going to be where we stay. And outside temperature, when I checked, was about 34. So it's not fantastic. I think I'm going to have to upgrade to a thicker plastic. For right now, it's not that big of a deal because we're supposed to go back up in temperature. But I do have a tiny, if I can get the focus, a little bit of germination happening in there. A little bit of green popping up. That would be the radish. So I'm definitely, when it warms up a little bit, going to get a thicker plastic to put on here. But I mean, this held up really nicely. This is a very thick, solid piece of ice going on here, hanging out on top of this. So that's going to be where we end this video. I just wanted to do an update because while I was editing, we got this ice. I'm very pleased that it's staying in the 30s and not going too far down. I mean, staying in the high 30s. It's taking a couple of degrees of the edge off and it's keeping the frost off. So that's nice. All right, so thank you so much for joining me today on our little project and then stroll through the ice. And we will see you next time.